Hello, welcome to another program of Exploring Creativity. My name is Esther, and we're back this week. I'm back this week to do another looking at using a couple pieces. Here, let's give you some pieces. Three pieces. Using that to explore creativity, taking 5 or 10 minutes to take some time to look at what makes the creative path. Because I've been making art for the last 30 years and I'm interested in what makes people tick a little. So, exploring creativity, and I'm using pieces of art that I've made and looking at them a little bit in depth and trying to, get a bucket of steam is what I think of. A bucket of steam of words to describe what happens with the creative process. I heard earlier this week some women from Gee's Bend talking about how they make quilts and the creative process that involves. And it was incredible. Thank you to Raina for tuning me into that. That was wonderful. And it's always interesting. So anyway, I'm trying to share that with you, and let's use this time. Let's go and look at these works and see what kind of dynamics are playing around so that you can get, just think about it a little bit. Okay, here we go. I see a little heart there. That always makes me happy. Let's go. Woo! Okay, I'm going to come up big. Let's see. We'll also see. That's about what size it is, whether it's in inches or centimeters. That's about the size you're looking at. 3 little paintings that came from 2002. They were born that year. And you will see that I'm looking at translucence and solid. I think opaque is one. I can't remember if opaque means solid or translucent. I think it means solid. But when you're looking at this type of space that you can go through, like how it plays on the surface, where you can go and where you can't go, what's clear and what's not clear. And on top of it, we have these, it almost looks like a sticker. Like I was trying to make things so they look like a sticker. Something so that you have a little bit of art in a vacuum. I like it when you've got a vacuum. I'm not anti-vacuum. So here we go. But these little images come from sculptures, much larger sculptures. These were smaller sculptures. And what I was trying to do, I'm interested in realism as opposed to abstraction. Because sometimes people, when they are talking about their art, looking at art, thinking about art, it's about, I prefer something real, or abstraction makes me uncomfortable. And to be honest, I find them to be interchangeable. When you look closely at a leaf or a rock surface, or try to draw some waves up close, and you've got abstraction. And within abstraction, you're always seeing faces, you're seeing body forms. I mean, there's always an overlapping of abstraction and realism. So these images were drawn from abstract sculptures with a somewhat realistic rendering. Rather realistic. Anyway, they were much, much larger. And this is actually the same sculpture, but it is suspended. And they were quite heavy. They were cloth, and this was, they were tied. So they were just oozing out of themselves. They're quite heavy. They were the size of, they were shorter than me. So, I don't know. They were about 5 feet tall. But this was back in 2002. And I thought it would be interesting. I like the idea that it would just look like it was on top of everything. Just, doesn't necessarily belong there. Oh, and I should actually draw your attention, because this is one of those things where you get kind of creative and you just want to do something and you don't really think it through that well. And maybe even that's part of it, not just the thinking it through, but that you've done something you shouldn't have done. But I'm not sure it shouldn't be done, because these are from 2012. We're in 2020. That's nearly 20 years old. Seriously. But they are on styrofoam. Here you go. In fact, this was probably the palette for that, or it was the palette for that little cushion. Let's give a little close-up of the cushion. A little close-up of the cushion. Legs. Do you see legs in that abstract sculpture? So here we go. Here's your palette. Yep, we've got a palette. Yeah, I don't think that palette, look at, doesn't really go with that one. So anyway, yeah, let's talk about this styrofoam for a bit. Polystyrene. And, ooh, red. Red. Red is watching. We've got red for red. Let's see. Okay, we've got, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Yes, so the polystyrene elephant. Let's actually, here, let's see what this one's got. No, this is the good one. Here we go. You could actually even have called that a painting, but it was a palette. So it's styrofoam, and yet it's precious. In fact, it's so precious that it's painted in gold. Okay, so we're combining, value, thinking about value here. What's, what do we, putting time in it. I guess it's almost like a mandala, but it's really not like a mandala, because a mandala is sand and it just gets swept away. While this is acrylic, which is plastic, which will probably last longer than I would. However, the polystyrene probably won't. So when you put something precious onto something that's disposable, just because you need to make it, I feel like, I don't know, you could read into that, I can read into that. In fact, in some places, look at the surface of the styrofoam. You can see it right up close. It's so garbly, and look at, it's even dented. All that indentation, like bloody, look at that, it just indented. Which I actually find it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like wrinkles or love handles or war scars. It's what we are. It's imperfect. And I kind of think a bit of imperfection. Why am I saying that like that? Imperfection is awesome. It's what makes us who we are. And here we have it in paint. Look at how imperfect it is. Perfectly imperfect. It's dented. I could put my finger in there. That's part of it. And can you hear it? So, let's mess around with, but it's lasted, 20 years? It may last hundreds more if you put it into a nice little plastic box, a proper frame. That's what happens. So, there you have it. A bit of ephemeral preciousness, latching abstraction with realism, with more abstraction, putting it all together. Gonna come back around. Anyway, so that's what we have today. Some of those issues that we keep coming up with. Going over compartmentalizing, uncompartmentalizing, and that's it's kind of fun to compartmentalize, and yet it's also a little bit of a problem we have, putting things into little bits and pieces when they actually flow and blend together. Anyway, I hope you're all well, that you're staying healthy, you're not going crazy during confinement, and ephemeral permanence, exactly, which is what we are. It's life. It's what we've got. We'll all turn into polystyrene dust one day. Oh, that's kind of dark. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this. These pieces are on my website. Anything can come live at your house. That's always an option. But in any case, thank you so much for coming and joining and being part of exploring creativity for this week. You take it easy. Stay cool. Stay healthy. Lots of love to you. And ciao, ciao.